Please, can you break down exactly how Nigeria are going to advance from this? And the first thing is that this playoff is in two phases. We have the African leg of the playoff and the intercontinental leg, which is like a mini World Cup on its own. But the African leg, we have 4 teams. We already know Gabon, we know Cameroon. That's what we qualified for. That's what we just qualified with the win against Benin. So it's a straightforward format. Semi-final, we are all going to Morocco. Morocco is the home of African competition. So if we win that game in the semi-final, like 4 days later, the way this Friday, Tuesday schedule, then we play the final. And if we win the final as well, which I'm more optimistic we will, we then go for the intercontinental playoff. That will come up next year, perhaps the March window, and then it will comprise of 6 teams. The winner of the African playoff, the 7th place team in South America, which is Bolivia, we know that already. We have 1 team from Oceania region, which is New Caledonia, we know that already as well. Then we have 2 teams from North and Central America, because they are the host country for host zone for the World Cup. They were given 2 slots. So those teams have not emerged yet. 5, and then we have 1 from Asia. Another 1 team emerged from Asia. So 6 teams, bam, for the international playoffs. So we have to basically win 4 games in a row and we are through to the World Cup. Exactly. Nothing beats playing at the World Cup, even if you come home at the group stage.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 9 of the T&T Talk Sports show. My name is Tunde Young, and last week I was not here, mostly because all men do is lie, but I have to explain myself because 10 weeks ago, when myself and my wonderful friend and colleague Tosin Abayami started this show, we promised to bring you a new episode of this podcast every single Monday. But last week was the first time we defaulted because I was unavailable. I was in Uyo covering the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And I have no regrets because I ended up witnessing what turned out to be the greatest Super Eagles game of my lifetime. 4-0 returned in favor of Nigeria against Benin Republic. You already know what happened. I don't need to rehash it. But you saw how Jago put Benin Republic to the sword. I'm not going to talk about it. You heard at the top of the show when I asked my esteemed senior colleague, Fisai Odairo, to break down how exactly Nigeria are going to make it from the playoffs and all the way to the World Cup. So thank you very much for everybody that supported me on my trip to you emotionally. Nobody supported me financially, but thank you for supporting me emotionally and even pointing me in the right direction, where to go, how to get accreditation, where to get a nice hotel that's not far from the stadium, stuff like that. So thank you very much. Thank you. And now we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this very independent production. My name once again is Tunde Young, episode 9. There's a whole lot to talk about. From Manchester United shocking Liverpool and the world, Morocco being under 20 world champions, the CAF Champions League clash between Remo Stars and Mamelodi Sundowns, the Champions League happening in this midweek. But I want to start with something that is not football related. And it's kind of also football related. But the Odumodu Black's album, Odumodu Black's album, Industry Machine, has been the soundtrack to my life since the last 2 weeks that has dropped. And even though Odumodu is in the news for other things at the moment, because apparently Industry is here, I still have to talk about the album because I'm not listening to any other thing right now. Anytime I wake up, I just turn on the Industry Machine, put it on shuffle. But the best thing about this album and why it might concern you, the average sports podcast listener, is that there were 16 sports references in this album. I counted 16. Well, there might be more, but I'm sure I did not miss any. So 16 in total, and 15 of those were football references. So just only one basketball reference. And let me go run through the list of references made by Odumodu Black. Sporting references made by Odumodu Black in the Industry Machine album. In the song On Our Way, he mentioned Jokic, Nikola Jokic, the Serbian basketball player. That was the only non-football reference made in the podcast. Victor Moses also mentioned it on Our Ways. in the song Grooving, featuring Davido and Seun Kuti, which I think is the hit of the album so far. Budewin Zenden was mentioned, which I think is the first time anybody in the history of the world has ever referenced Budewin Zenden in a song. If you are too young to know who Budewin Zenden is, he was a Dutch attacking midfielder / winger, played for Chelsea, played for Sunderland all those years ago. Very, very niche reference, which lets you know Odumodu Black knows his football. There's a song on there called Vinicius, track number 7. So he mentioned Vinicius in Vinicius, one of my favorite songs. There's another song, track number 10, called Maradona, of course, referencing Diego Maradona. In the song Layi Wasabi featuring Reminisce, he mentioned Incapi, and I think that's Piero Incapi, Arsenal's defender, who just signed from Bayer Leverkusen. Kevin De Bruyne was also mentioned on that song Layi Wasabi, but it was Reminisce that said it. In the song Baggio, of course, referencing Roberto Baggio, that's the title track. At the start of that track, that song was basically a tribute to the Italian national football team. That's all it was, because at the start of that track, they mentioned Cannavaro, Gilardino, Del Piero, basically Odumodu Black recreating the great Italian football commentary. I mentioned Ashley Cole as well in that song Baggio. They mentioned it as Cole Ashley. So I thought before I defend like Cole Ashley, something like that. So I hope I didn't skew at that. Andrea Pirlo and Fabio Grosso were mentioned in Baggio as well. Jadon Sancho was mentioned in Baggio. Noni Madueke was mentioned in Baggio. He mentioned Tonda Balogun, If You Like Jim. That one was easy to miss because of the cadence in which he did it. And the last but certainly not least, he mentioned Titus Bramble in Candy Music. So those were the sports references I counted in the Industry Machine album. Let me know if I missed any. And shout out to Odumodu Black, the album of my life right now. I can't stop listening to the album. I cannot stop listening to the album. So away from music, let's go to what you actually came here for. My sporting highlights of the week. If we did this last week, I'll probably have talked about my time in Uyo. Maybe I can still. I didn't get to experience the city of Uyo as well as you would have hoped. I got in late on Sunday night, immediately checked into the hotel. Monday morning, I was out creating content. Spent my entire day in the stadium. Left the stadium in the boot of a car in a video that has now circulated the internet thanks to Mike the Pundit and the rest of my haters. Then on Tuesday game day, same thing, same routine. Went to the stadium early to get some work done, shoot some content, edit some content. And it was frustrating because I didn't account for the fact that because there are going to be lots of people in the stadium, network was going to be trashed. So like network was literally unusable, like three hours to kick off. You could not use your phone to do anything, which led to an interesting thing that happened in the stadium because nobody had internet in the stadium. When we were leading 1-0, we knew South Africa was also leading 1-0. We knew that one already. But then somebody now started a rumor that they had equalized South Africa. And because nobody could check it, some people were already celebrating. I was walking around the aisle just looking for who has network. And the way we were eventually able to confirm that it was not an equalizer. In fact, South Africa scored 2 goals. So that even though data was not working, you could actually make calls. So we called people at home that were watching the games like, okay, can you help us check scores? And they told us it's 2-0. So everybody calmed down a little bit. But it was a fun experience. Victor Osimhen, performance of his career so far, and getting to see that in person was incredible. The stadium was chanting his name. It was therapeutic. It was therapeutic. First good day that I've had as a Super Eagles supporter in a long time. Let me tell you, long time. Anyway, away from the Super Eagles, we'll focus our attention on the African leg of the World Cup qualifying playoffs in November. We'll be facing Gabon and then potentially Congo or Cameroon if we beat Gabon and whoever wins that game. So best of luck to the Super Eagles. Let's talk about a team or a nation that is dominating African football at the moment. Morocco are champions of the world at under 20 level. Won the under 20 World Cup after defeating Argentina by 2-0 in the final, and congratulations to them. It was a great run to the final. They beat Spain 2-0. They beat Brazil 2-1. They lost 1-0 to Mexico in the group stage, but that didn't matter. They beat South Korea. They beat the United States. They beat France on penalties, and then beat Argentina in the final. So that's a fantastic run, if I do say so. 5 wins, 1 draw, which ended up as a win in penalties, and then 1 defeat in 7 games. So congratulations to Morocco, becoming only the second African team to win the Under-20 FIFA World Cup. We want to guess the first. It's Ghana. Ghana in Egypt 2009. I remember that team for Andrea Yu when he still had a lot of hair on his head and he burst onto the scene in that tournament. It was fantastic. But look at the few of Morocco's achievements over just the last few years. They were second place team at the Under-17 AFCON in 2023. Under-23 AFCON in 2023, they won that. They won the bronze at the Olympics tournament, which is the Olympics football tournament, which is basically an Under-23 tournament as well. AFCON Under-17, they won that in 2025. AFCON Under-20 in 2025, they finished second. And now World Cup Under-20 in 2025, they won. That's not even counting what they've been able to achieve in women's football, making consecutive WAFCON finals, even though they lost both to South Africa and Nigeria, respectively. The fact that they made it to the World Cup semi-finals as the first African team to do so, they did it in 2022. So what they've been able to achieve in the span of the last 4 to 5 years has been ridiculously impressive. And nobody can take it away from them. They're certainly setting the blueprints for how African football teams should be run, how African countries should run their football. And not just national teams, even the clubs. The Moroccan club, RS Bakken, won the 2025 CAF Confederations Cup. Morocco's own-based team won the CHAN African Nations Championship, the one where Nigeria got embarrassed out of. And Morocco will also host the 2025 AFCON. They will host the 2026 AFCON, and then they will co-host the 2030 World Cup. This is a country on the rise. And if there's an African team that can win the biggest prize in football, that's the men's FIFA World Cup. It's certainly Morocco at this time. They already blazed the trail by making the semifinals. So who's to say they can't take it a step further and make the final and then potentially win the tournament? So congratulations to Morocco and congratulations to Othman Mama, who won the Under-20 Golden Ball, meaning he was the best player at the tournament, becoming the 24th player in history to win the Under-20 Golden Ball, the second African, if I'm correct. But I'll run through the list of the winners and we'll find out very soon. But Othman Mama won the 2020 award for the 2025 award for the tournament in Chile, Under-20 Golden Ball winner, the best player at that tournament. Before him in 2023 for the tournament in Argentina, the winner was Cesare Casadei, the Italian, who had a big move to Chelsea from Inter Milan, didn't quite work out, and now he's back in Italy with Torino. So the jury's still out on him, depending on how well he will perform over the rest of his career. In 2019, for the tournament in Poland, we saw Kangin Lee of the Korea Republic win the Golden Ball Award as the best player in that tournament, and he's gone on to become a Champions League winner with Paris Saint-Germain. Even though he's not a starter for that team, it's still a rotational piece in the best team in the world. So I would say he's done pretty well for himself, Kangin Lee. In 2017, the Golden Ball winner was Dominic Solanke. English people say Dominic Solanke. Dominic Solanke of England, as England went on to win that tournament in the Korea Republic in 2017. Solanke was the top scorer and the Golden Boot winner. Solanke currently plays for Tottenham Hotspur after shining at Bournemouth a few seasons ago. So I'll say he's doing pretty well for himself as well. In 2015, it was Adama Traore. No, not that one. Not the bodybuilder Adama Traore. This Adama Traore was a Malian international. Probably still is a Malian international. Let me not mischaracterize him. But yeah, Adama Traore currently plays in the second division of Turkish football, if I'm not mistaken. At the time, the height of his talent was signing for Milan a few years ago, but it didn't quite work out. So this Golden Ball winners is a bit of a toss-up. It's a bit of a toss-up, depending on how your career will go. Because you won the Golden Ball doesn't necessarily mean that you instantly go on to have a great career. But I'm sure Adama Traore still enjoyed his time playing high-level football after he won that tournament's Golden Ball in 2015 in New Zealand. In 2013, the tournament in Turkey, guess who won that? That was Paul Pogba. And needless to say, he's going on to have a great career. Currently at Monaco after serving a drug ban. But he's World Cup winner. Played all those years for Manchester United, Juventus, and one of the more defining characters of his generation. So congratulations to Paul Pogba on his move to Juventus, on his move to Monaco, and how that is working out for him. In 2011, in the Colombia tournament, it was Enrique Almeida, the Brazilian, who is now 34 at the moment. His career did not quite go as well as he could have. He currently plays for Amazonas Football Club in the Serie B in Brazil. He never actually left Brazil. He played a bit of a journeyman. He played his entire career in Brazil, and the under-20 was pretty much as good as it got for him. But never forget that he won the 2011 Golden Ball Award and led Brazil all the way to that title. So congratulations to him. In 2009, it was Dominic Adia, the Ghanaian. I mentioned earlier that Ghana won this tournament. Dominic Adia was the best player at the tournament. Signed for Milan in 2010, didn't quite work out. Went on to be a Ghanaian international, played 20 games for Ghana. Right now he's retired. Few tours here and there in Ukraine and Thailand, but that's as good as it got for Dominic Adia. So like I said earlier, not every one of these guys is absolutely going to make it to the very top. But speaking of making it to the very top, the 2007 Golden Ball winner certainly did. Sergio Aguero, no need to tell you what he did, what he achieved in his career. But it was the best player at the 2007 Under-20 World Cup for Argentina, when Argentina won that tournament in Canada. And 2 years before that, I think it's probably the most famous Under-20 tournament, at least of my lifetime, because of how well Nigeria performed in it. But 2005 in the Netherlands, the winner of that Golden Ball Award was, of course, Lionel Messi, with John Obi Mikel finishing second, and we never heard the end of it after that. And in 2003, it was Ismail Matar of the United Arab Emirates who won the Golden Ball Award. In the year 2001, it was Javier Saviola, another Argentinian. So Argentines are known for doing quite well at this level of football. And Saviola took note of all the records that came before him at the World Youth Championship and decided to break the lot of them. He scored 11 goals, completed 2 hat-tricks and a further strike in the final against Ghana to establish a record which still stands to today, as he scooped the Golden Ball, Golden Boot double. And his 11 goals at that tournament is still the most anyone has scored in a single Under-20 tournament. At the 1999 FIFA World Youth Championships, hosted by Nigeria, the Golden Ball was won by Seydou Keita, the Mali legend, Malian. And in 1997, Nicolas Oliveira of Uruguay. 1995 was Caio of Brazil. 93 was Adriano of Brazil. 91 was Emilio Peche of Portugal. 1989 was Bismarck of Brazil. 1987 was Robert Prosinecki of Yugoslavia, of the old Yugoslavia, when they went on to win that tournament. 1985 in the Soviet Union was Paulo Silas of Brazil. 1983 in Mexico was Giovanni of Brazil. 1981 in Australia was Romulus Gabor of Romania. And in 1999, the greatest Under-20 World Cup Golden Ball winner of all time is probably Diego Maradona. In 1979, the Argentine winning the tournament and the Golden Ball in Japan, 1979. And the first ever winner of the Golden Ball was in 1977, Vladimir Bezunov of the Soviet Union. 1977 tournament hosted by Tunisia. So I've gone down a rabbit hole of Under-20 World Cup Golden Ball winner lore. And congratulations again to Osman Mama. Hopefully he goes on to have more of a Messi, Maradona, Pogba type of career than an Adia and and every other under-20 World Cup golden ball winner that didn't go on to live on to expectations. Hopefully, this Morocco team will provide lots of gems for Africa and world football. So congratulations to those guys. What has happened over the weekend? Hey, Remo Stars. Maybe let me not talk too much. Maybe a remontada can still happen. Pun definitely intended. But when you lose 5-1 at home to Mamelodi Sundowns, I mean, I can't say I didn't expect it because I came into the game knowing fully well that Remo Stars are the definite underdogs. Even the club owner knows fully well that they are not at the level of the very best teams in African football at the moment. A clip of him talking about this on the Abu Aziz podcast a while ago, even before any of these draws were made, before they knew they were facing Sundowns. He talked about it, so listen to it by yourself.
There is not enough money in this game in Nigeria for us to compete with those guys. But the money is simply not enough. Remo Stars played asphalt. I mean, these are players that earn maybe 500, 700, maybe maximum 800, something like that here.
Okay.
You are playing against players that earn $4,000, $5,000 in their own clubs. Most likely, 7 out of 10 times they will defeat you. On the balance of probability, their chances of defeating you is higher because they have better quality players. Mm-hmm. The best players in the league now, next season you will not see them again. Those guys will buy. So how do you not compete with them?
So it is what it is. The levels were astronomically exposed on Sunday in Abeokuta. 5-1 it ended in favor of the away side. Sundowns were running riot. They were just strolling through the Remo Stars defense, and there was really nothing that could be done by both Thiago Conde, the Remo Stars coach in charge of continental duties, and Coach Daniel Odumodu, the Remo Stars coach in charge of local duties. So it has led to a conversation about the level of Nigerian football. We view ourselves as giants of Africa a lot, but when pitched up against the very elite of African football, both at the CHAN tournament that I mentioned earlier, the tournament for home-based African national team players, and on the continental level, we consistently fall short. I can't remember the last time a Nigerian team played the quarterfinal of a CAF Champions League or CAF Confederation Cup, let alone make a deep run to the tournament. Everybody always references what Enyimba did in the early 2000s, back-to-back Champions League winners. But that's as good as it got for the entirety of Nigerian football, which should lead to a bit of introspection on whether or not we are truly the champions of Africa, the giants of Africa that we claim that we are. I don't know, but I also think that maybe there's something to be said for Remo Stars. Maybe it's not indicative of Nigeria football's level. Maybe it's just indicative of Remo Stars' level. Maybe they just had a bad day. Maybe Sundowns just caught them at a bad time. Who knows? Maybe they will put up a better fight in the second leg. I sincerely doubt it, but a 4-0 win in the second leg may yet see them advance. So, and crazier things have happened in football, it has to be said. So who knows? I will be rooting for Remo Stars. It's not over until it's over, even though this one feels very, very, very much over. Speaking of over, the Flamingos, Nigeria's under-17 women's national team, under-17 girls, because there's no 17-year-old woman alive. National team kicked off a World Cup campaign, the 2025 tournament hosted by Morocco, on the wrong foot. Absolutely on the wrong foot. 4-1 it ended in favor of Canada in that opening fixture, and it did not go as planned whatsoever. Maybe the team can bounce back. There are still 2 more games to go in that group, so maybe they can bounce back. But right now, it's not looking very good from the perspective of our darling Flamingos. And like I said, hopefully they are able to bounce back and pick up from where they left up, so maybe to come out of that group and advance to the next round. Speaking of women's football in Nigeria, the Super Falcons squad to prosecute the WAFCON qualifiers against Benin Republic has been released, and Gift Monday with our 9 goals so far this season, continues to be left out by coach Justin Madugu. Last time Gift Monday was left out, it led to an uproar ahead of the AFCON, the WAFCON, the Mission X. And they went on to complete Mission X, so maybe his decision was justified. But again, he's left him out. He's left her out of the squad. The clash, a final qualifying fixture for the tournament in Morocco, comes just days after the Super Eagles dashed Benin's hopes of qualifying for the FIFA World Cup. The 10-time WAFCON champions Nigeria are overwhelmingly considered the favorites for this crucial tie, which also serves as Africa's qualifying pathway to the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in Brazil. And Madugu named a strong 21-player squad for the two-legged affair, featuring a blend of world-class talent and domestic stars. The contingent includes 3 goalkeepers, 7 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 6 forwards. Leading the squad is captain Rasheedat Ajibade, who was player of the tournament at the last WAFCON, where Nigeria clinched the title. Ajibade's inclusion follows a recent goal for our new club, Paris Saint-Germain women, in their UEFA Women's Champions League encounter with Real Madrid. She is joined in midfield by our new PSG teammate Jennifer Echegini. Another key figure is Africa's goalkeeper of the year for 2 consecutive years, Chiamaka Nnadozie, who plays for Brighton and Hove Albion women in the English Women's League. The defense is bolstered by the likes of Michelle Alozie of Houston Dash in the United States, Ashley Plumpton of Etihad Ladies in Saudi Arabia, and the experienced Osinachi Olali of Pachuca Club de Football in Mexico. Up front, the squad boasts significant firepower, including the prolific Azizat Agbabola Oshuala of Al Hilal FC in Saudi Arabia, Chiwendu Ihezuo of Pachuca Club de Football in Mexico, Esther Okoronkwo of AFC Toronto in Canada, midfield general Christy Ucheibe of Benfica in Portugal, and young talent Deborah Abiodun of Washington Spirit in the United States are also vital components of the team, where there's no room for Gift Monday. The first leg of the fixture will be held at the Stade Kege in Lomé on a date yet to be specified, as the Benin Republic do not possess a CAF-approved venue for the match. The decisive return leg is scheduled for Tuesday, 28th of October at the MKO Abiola Sports Complex in Abeokuta, Nigeria. So, of course, we'll be rooting for our ladies, the Super Falcons of Nigeria, who have done nothing but make this country proud footballing-wise, and maybe they'll be able to do it again. What else happened last week? I have to do a quick tribute to Jordi Alba. I don't know if I'm going to do a proper tribute, but Jordi Alba called time on his career, and I have to say, on a legendary football career at 26. He retires from active football. The former Inter Miami defender, who was a key integral part of those classic Barcelona teams that dominated the world and European football. And of course, everything leads to a debate on the internet, and it's now being debated about, is Jordi Alba the greatest left back of all time? I'll say he has a solid case. I don't think he is. I do not think he is, but I will say he does have a solid case. I'm not going to argue with anybody who does think that Jordi Alba is the greatest left back of his generation. Look at the everything he achieved in his career. Won the La Liga 7 times, with multiple Copa del Rey winner. Won the Champions League in 2014-2015 season. Won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2015. Won the European Championship in 2012 with Spain. It was too young for the earlier run of Spanish dominance, but he caught the end of it. I still think that Marcelo was a better left back than he was, just based on ability, because Jordi Alba was not renowned for his defensive strength. When you think of Jordi Alba, it's marauding down that left-hand side and his divine connection almost with Lionel Messi. So if that's what qualifies him as one of the very best, then you have to look at someone like Marcelo, who did those things better than he did. Marcelo was probably the most best offensive fullback I've ever seen in my life, right or left. It was ridiculous. But for me, if I'm going best fullback, I have to consider both facets of play equally, which is who was the best offensive fullback that could also defend very well, or who was the best defensive fullback that could also attack very well. So for the former, you would say Ashley Cole fits into that category pretty well. A very, very good defensive fullback that can attack quite well. Or someone like, say, Evra, very good offensive fullback that can defend pretty well, or just someone that can defend in Maldini, or someone that can. So like there's a lot of things to consider. I don't know who my greatest left back is, but I know it's not Jordi Alba. He does have a solid shout though, and I'm sure that those of you that think he is the greatest left back of all time have valid reasons for thinking so. So since we're already on the topic of European football, we might as well get to it. The shocker of the weekend, the shocker of the season, in fact, because if you sat me down and told me several weeks ago when the season was about to start that Manchester United would go to Anfield and defeat Liverpool, regardless of what the form was. Yes, Liverpool came into this game on three consecutive defeats. Yes, United came into this game after beating Sunderland just before the international break. So I suppose the form did indicate that it could go this way. But there was nothing that could have prepared me for it. The fact that United had not won back-to-back league games under Ruben Amorim yet, the fact that United have been averaging a win per month in the league under Ruben Amorim up until this moment, and now, for the first time in Amorim's 11 months in charge, just about 11 months in charge, is won multiple league games in a single month. Congratulations. Congratulations to Ruben Amorim, who has gotten his own fair share of flack on this channel. He has been very much maligned by the entire football media, myself included, and rightly so, because if you are struggling that much with an institution as gigantic as Manchester United, somebody has to say something. Somebody will say something, and we've been saying it. But you also have to give him credit when he does well. It was a tactical masterclass, pulling up to Anfield. First of all, not being afraid to go for a win. That's the first thing to do to win, is that you actually have to be trying to win. So United, even though they were under the coach for most of the game, you can say on a different day, Liverpool would probably have, still won that game because they missed lots of chances. I remember the Gakpo chance. They hit the bar about 3 times. It just wasn't Liverpool's day. And it's not been Liverpool's day for 3 straight, for an entire month now, for 4 straight games, losing to Crystal Palace, Galatasaray, Chelsea, and Manchester United all in a row, leading to people calling for the head of Arne Slot, the most recent head to win the Premier League, and is already on the hot seat, and people are already asking for him to get fired. And I don't know. I think that's a bit reactionary, because when you consider that he came into a bad situation with Jurgen Klopp, who had been at the club for 9 years, leaving, didn't spend at all. Federico Chiesa was his only signing, and he barely played. And then he won the league in his first attempts. Now, getting the trust of the club, the trust of the fans, the trust of the management, with a 400 million transfer kitty, and now somehow looking worse than they did last season when he was functioning on vibes, which the only rational explanation for that, in my opinion, would be that last season he came into a situation where he was forced to not change anything, just maintain the status quo, use Klopp's existent setup. Yeah, you can do a few minor tweaks, like play 4-2-3-1 instead of Klopp's normal 4-3-3. So instead of just one holding midfielder, use both Gravenberch and McAllister as a double pivot and play Szoboszlai as a 10, which is what he did last season. So Klopp, on the other hand, would have played Gravenberch as the holder, while McAllister and Szoboszlai as left center mids and right center mids. So that was the only variation, that was the only switch in what Slot did last season. So it was essentially still Klopp's personnel, Klopp's system, but with a tweak. And it worked. But now, the man feels like he has the leeway, he has the time, he has the opportunity to imprint himself on this team properly, signing his own players, and he has signed his own players. Florian Wirtz, big money. Alexander Isak, huge money. Ugo Ekitike, big money. Jeremy Frimpong, I suppose they had to do that because when you lose strength, you definitely have to sign it right back. Jeremy Frimpong, 35 million, still a lot of money. Milos Kekej, PFA Team of the Year for Bournemouth. It was phenomenal for Bournemouth. We've not seen that same player for Liverpool so far. Jordi Alba, probably the best backup goalkeeper in the league on paper because he's already a full international for Georgia. He was one of the best goalkeepers in the world at Valencia. So it was even a surprise when he agreed to join Liverpool as a backup goalkeeper to Alisson. So on paper, this looks like it should be a cakewalk. This looks like it should be a very good squad that is difficult to beat. For whatever reason, it's not. Even when they were winning, you could tell that their winning was unsustainable with the way they needed to keep rescuing points at the death, scoring late goal after late goal after late goal. You knew at some point the chickens would come home to roost, and they are roosting very, very loudly because as a Chelsea fan, let me tell you, the worst thing you can do in football is to lose to Manchester United. They will not shut up about it. They will absolutely not shut up about it. And rightly so, they played quite well. Good goals. Brown Mbemo, what a finish. What a finish. I give him a lot of flack for the way United, I felt like they overinflated his importance because he had a great season with Brentford, but I do not look at Brown Mbemo and see a £70 million player. But I have to say, he's doing his part. Let's put it down. He's doing his part for Manchester United so far. Harry Maguire as well, the late winning goal. Incredible header from an incredible player with an incredible mentality. And very much undeserved by Manchester United Football Club. Because even if the whole world chooses to forget, Tunde Young, will not forget how Harry Maguire was villainized, treated like trash. The club tried to sell him to West Ham United, and he took the player, turning down the move for the move to collapse. And because he turned down the move, fans virtually insulted, abused, and demoralized this man. And they did it physically as well, calling bomb threats into his house and making him and his family feel generally unsafe. And now that he's been able to refine this form, instead of people to hold up their hands and say, let's stop treating players this way, this could have gone really bad. People are now using it as a gotcha for other players and using Maguire's incredible mentality as a bar or as the bar for how other players should react to abuse. Instead of saying, let's not just stop abuse in the first place. Criticism is not abuse. You can criticize. But there's no point in making people feel unsafe online and whatnot. So congratulations to Manchester United, congratulations to Harry Maguire, congratulations to Ruben Amorim, who gets some much needed breathing space. And who knows, maybe they will now launch a good run of results off of this. They have Brighton next. If they can make it the third consecutive win in the Premier League, I would say, that's a success. That's a fantastic success. But for now, let's not get ahead of ourselves. For Liverpool, what is next? Would you fire Arne Slot? Would it be an overreaction to fire Arne Slot? We've seen Liverpool fans call for his sacking just few months after he won them the league. Only the second Premier League title in their history, by the way. If you are not counting, you are just focusing on the Premier League, you are not counting the old First Division titles. And it seems unfair. Yes, is he in a rough patch? Yes. I think they still need to figure out what to do with their two big money strikers. Isak and Ekitike can play together. And I think that's the way to go. But for that to happen, they have to move on from Mohamed Salah first, because you have to then play a proper 4-4-2. The way that will work in their current setup, they didn't even sign the players for that. Because for that to work properly, even Vets doesn't fit into this team if you want to play for proper 4-4-2. You need someone like Chiesa, flying winger on the left, and then another flying winger on the right, someone like Frimpong. Because as much as Frimpong is a right back, he's actually a right winger / right midfielder. That's where he played for Alonso and Bayer Leverkusen. So I'd say someone like Chiesa and Frimpong on either flank, hug the touchline, be a menace to the defenders, put balls into the box for both Isak and Ekitike as the strikers. And then have a solid base midfield. Gravenberch as the sitter, McAllister as the one with freedom to roam, rotating with Joboslai and stuff like that. So I think that setup could work, but the recruitment did not show that they planned to play 4-4-2 because you signed Florian Wirtz for a huge amount of money, and he's a 10. He has to play in the O. I don't even think you can play Florian Wirtz as a left winger. You can play there, but you are not getting the optimum use for this player that he has to play in the O right behind the striker, which means you can only have one striker. And from Ekitike's perspective, he came into the club, hit the ground running, scored 4 goals, and as soon as Isak was signed and fit to play, Ekitike is dropped. And now Isak has started the last 2 games without scoring. And from Ekitike's perspective, it can make him feel bad. It can make him feel like he's underappreciated, which again is where the impact or the talk of recruitment policies coming. You have to plan for this kind of things ahead. If you have 400 million to spend in the transfer window, you probably should not just be spending it because you can spend it. You should spend it around a plan. What was the plan to have both Ekitike and Isak? The only plan that makes sense is 4-4-2. But again, like I already mentioned earlier, you can't do that and then sign vets. It means that you want to play a 4-2-3-1 formation. So is the plan to play either one of Ekitike and Isak as one of the left wingers? Maybe Gakpo will swap often with Isak and Ekitike. It could work, but we've not seen it so far because Gakpo has been one of Liverpool's most consistent performers this season, and he should be able to start every game on his current form. So those are the problems that Liverpool face right now. As for Arne Slot, I would say do not sack Arne Slot yet. So if someone wins the league in his first season, his first attempt, I would say he has earned benefit of the doubt for at least the next season. If the next season goes completely off plan, then you can sack him. I don't think you should sack him before the end of the season. I don't think you should sack him before halfway into the season because he's struggled in his last 4 games. So that's where I stand with Arne Slot, but I'm sure lots of you would feel differently. Do let me know what you think in the comments. As for the rest of the results that we saw over the weekend, coupon busters, yo. Lots of teams spoil. Let me tell you, this was a horrible weekend to be putting money on footballing activities. Because even Man U beating Liverpool was a huge shock. No, but I don't think anybody predicted United to win that game. So Liverpool was a coupon buster. Napoli, the mother of all coupon busters, on Saturday, I beg your pardon. Because this one did not even only bust coupons. It put people into gbese. Because Napoli, a lot of people bet on Napoli to score 1 goal, yeah? Napoli scored 1 goal. And they were trailing against Torino since the first half by a goal to nil. They scored a late equalizer. Noah Lang scored, took his shirt off, celebrated, did the whole shabag. And because betting platforms are trying to be fast nowadays, everybody that bets on Napoli to score got their tickets greenlit immediately. And lots of people withdrew their money instantly, only for the Napoli goal to get removed immediately. The people that not withdraw their money instantly, the money was repossessed from their accounts. The people that withdrew their money instantly, their betting accounts is showing minus the amount that they withdrew. So that means whenever you put money into this account, we will first owe you by the neck. So Napoli, not only did you cost some people money, you also put a lot of other people into gbese. So don't do that again. But yeah, Napoli ruined things this Saturday. Speaking of ruining things on Saturday, Rangers as well ruined things. On Sunday, Tottenham losing at home to Aston Villa, in my opinion, was unexpected. Maybe not that big of a coupon buster because it's 2-1. Lots of people went to the over 1. But yeah, you went to the win or draw and they lost at home. Celtic on Sunday. Let me stop. This segment is not good for my mental health. This segment is not good for me at all. I'm sad. The more I'm talking about all this, it's reminding me of all the amount of money that I lost over the weekend. So let's just not do. Let's move on to the other notable results from the weekend that just passed. On Sunday, we saw Tottenham, like I mentioned already in Premier League, lose 2-1 at home to Aston Villa. Liverpool lose 2-1 at home to Manchester United in the French Ligue 1. Lens 2-1 winners at home to Paris FC. Lorient-Brest ended 3-3. Rennes-Auxerre ended 2-2. Toulouse 4, Metz 0. Lille won 2-0 away at Nantes. Freiburg, Eintracht Frankfurt in the German Bundesliga ended 2-2. St. Pauli lost 0-3 at home to Hoffenheim. In the Serie A, it was a dull week, 0-goal mouth action. AC Milan Fiorentina ended 2-1 in favor of Milan. Rafael Leao with 2 goals to help Milan come back from behind and win that game. Atalanta Lazio ended goalless. Genoa Parma ended goalless. Cagliari lost 2-0 at home to Bologna. Como 2-0 winners against Juventus. Quite a number of results in the Spanish La Liga on Sunday. Elche Bilbao ended goalless. Celta Vigo won, Real Sociedad won. This is now Celta Vigo's 7th 1-1 draw of the season. Crazy. Levante lost at home 0-3 to Rayo Vallecano. Etafe 1-0 loser at home to Real Madrid. Alanium set a record for a very quick red card. 17 seconds was all it took for him coming off the bench and getting sent off in that game. On Saturday, in the top 5 European leagues, we saw in the Premier League, Nottingham Forest lost at home to Chelsea. Speaking of red card, Chelsea got yet another red card. 6th red card in the last 7 games for Chelsea. This time it was Malo Gusto. But 3-0 winners for Chelsea emerged, and which led to the sacking of Ange Postecoglou after just 39 days in charge of Nottingham Forest. He came in to replace the fired Nuno Espirito Santo, but Ange Postecoglou has now been fired himself after coaching 8 games, losing 6 and drawing 2. Right now, we and Nottingham Forest are in talks with Roberto Mancini, but that didn't come to anything. And now Sean Dyche has been heavily linked and will most likely get that job to lead Nottingham Forest out of their precarious situation. Brighton, I beg your pardon, 2-1 winners at home to Newcastle United. Burnley, 2-0 winners at home to Leeds United. Crystal Palace Bournemouth was the game of the Premier League weekend. 3-3, it ended in a cracker at Selhurst Park. Jean-Philippe Mateta scored a hat-trick and missed several other chances. Krupi Jr. as well with a brace for Bournemouth. Fantastic performance for him. Manchester City 2-0 winners at home to Everton. Erling Haaland masterclass to give them the 3 points. Sunderland 2-0 winners at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers, where Tolu Arokodare continues to struggle to find the back of the net in the Premier League. Fulham lost at home 1-0 to Arsenal. Arsenal, for the 2nd consecutive game, kept their opponents from even having a shot on target, let alone scoring a goal. So right now, as the table is starting to take shape, 8 games into the season, Arsenal at top of the table, 19 points from their first 8 games. City 2nd with 16 points. Liverpool 3rd with 15 points, despite all their struggles. So that's why I'm not in support of sacking and it's not just yet. Like there's a lot of football to be played. Bournemouth 4th with 15 points. Chelsea 5th with 14 points. Tottenham 6th with 14 points. Sunderland 7th with 14 points. Crystal Palace in 8th with 13 points. United in 9th with 13 points. Brighton in 12th. Brighton in 10th with 12 points. Aston Villa in 11th with 12 points. Everton 12th with 11 points. Newcastle all the way down in 13th with 9 points. Fulham are 14th with 8 points. Leeds United also have 8 points to their name in 15th position. Brentford have 7 points in 16th. Burnley have 7 points in 17th. And occupying the relegation spaces at this moment in time are Nottingham Forest, West Ham United, and Wolverhampton Wanderers. So Wolves remaining the only team yet to win a game in the Premier League this season. In the French Ligue 1 on Saturday, we saw Nice 3-2 winners against Lyon. Angers Monaco ended 1-1. And Marseille 6-2 winners at home to Le Havre. Mason Greenwood with 4 goals in that one. So impressive performance from the Englishman. In the German Bundesliga, Köln and Augsburg played at a 1-1 draw. Heidenheim 2, Werder Bremen 2. Mainz 3-4 losers at home to Bayer Leverkusen. Leipzig 2-1 winners against Hamburger. Wolfsburg lost 0-3 at home to Stuttgart. Bayern Munich 2, Dortmund 1. In the Serie A, it was a dull weekend, as mentioned earlier. Lecce Sassuolo played goalless. Pisa Verona played goalless. Torino Napoli ended 1-0. AS Roma Inter ended 1-0 in favor of Inter. So not a lot of goals to report over there. On Saturday, Sevilla lost at home 1-3 to Mallorca just after beating Barcelona before the international break. Barcelona 2-1 winners against Girona. Then a late winning goal from Ronald Araujo of all people. Strikers finish. Villarreal 2-2 against Betis. They were leading 2-0, but the GOAT, Anthony, with 2 late goals to help Real Betis steal a point away at Villarreal. Atletico Madrid 1-0 winners against Osasuna. So that wraps up the results from Europe Top 5 League. But I still have to tell you what happened in the NPFL. There were 9 games in the NPFL this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. And there were only 2 home teams that failed to win. Guess which 2 home teams I bet on to win this weekend? Enyimba lost 2-1 at home to Warri Wolves. Bayelsa United lost 2-1 at home to Kun Khalifat. Other results include Barao FC beating Kano Pillars by 2-1. El Karami 2-1 winners at home to Wiki Tourists. Ikorodu City 2-0 winners at home to Nasarawa United. Kwara United 1-0 winners at home to Katsina United. Niger Tornadoes 4, Plateau United 0, Shooting Stars 2, Abia Warriors 0. That is how it shakes down in the NPFL this weekend. What does that mean for the table? Real quick, Nasarawa United still top with 19 points from their first 9 games. Shooting Stars second, even though the Nuruddin Aweroro era started shakily initially, but they seem to be finding their footing at this moment in time with 15 points from 9 games. Abia Warriors 15 points from 9 games as well in third. Niger Tornadoes 14 points from 9 games. Ikorodu City struggled at the start of the season, but again they're finding their foot. 14 points from 9 games in fifth. Warri Wolves are 6, El Kanemi are 7, Enyimba all the way down in 8. Rivers United are 9th, but they have 2 games in hand. Kwara United are 10th, Katsina United are 11th, Rangers are 12th, Bayelsa 13th, Kun Khalifat, newly promoted team, are 14th, doing pretty well. Remo Stars are 15th with 10 points from 7 games, but again, they have 2 games in hand, and if they win their 2 games, they will be up to 16 points, which is good enough for second at this moment in time. So, but it's the NPFL, so you might not be able to win your 2 games. Wiki Tourists 16th, and it's 4 teams occupying the relegation spots at the moment. Plateau United, Kano Pillars, Barao, and Bendel Insurance. So I'm sure as the season continues on, we'll have a clearer picture of who is good and who is not. So that's the updates from the NPFL. Now I turn our attention to the Champions League. The Champions! This will drop on Tuesday. So the Champions League happening this weekend or this midweek already. Today on Tuesday, we'll see Barcelona take on Olympiacos. Well, Barcelona should be easy favorites to win at home to Olympiacos at the Montjuic Stadium. Kairat Almaty, who were pretty good, at least for as long as they could be against Real Madrid before they were blown out of the water, are probably the easiest fixture of the Champions League run. At home to Paphos, a Cypriot team. So I'd say they should be able to get something out of that. Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, oh mother of Aram. Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid at the Emirates. Diego Simeone is going to only play one way. Mikel Arteta only knows one way to play football. This match should be shown on Al Jazeera. That's my thoughts. As long as Atletico Madrid, if you have anything important to do on that day, I would say just do it. You could, in fact, you know what? I said, paint your house and sit down and watch it dry for those 2 hours before you spend time to watch Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid. Except, of course, you're an Arsenal fan or an Atletico Madrid fan. But as a neutral, I beg you in the name of God. But Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid is Hitler versus Stalin. They might as well broadcast the game on Airfire TV at this point. Like, there's nothing about that game that sounds appealing as whatsoever from a neutral perspective. Please do not. But again, I still expect Arsenal to win. I expect a narrow win. I expect a 1-0 win from Arsenal. Arsenal struggle to break teams down minus set-piece situations. Really teams that play like Atletico Madrid. So it's going to be a boring game. It's going to be a game devoid of too many chances. But I think Arsenal will eventually break them down. Most likely via a set-piece. It has to be said. So for the Arsenal fans out there, expect a win. But for the neutral, if you are looking for a game to watch, don't watch Atletico Madrid. Watch Newcastle Benfica instead. It is going to be a fantastic game. Jose Mourinho away at St. James's Park with his Benfica team. I think it's going to be a good game. Another potential good game, Leverkusen at home to Paris Saint-Germain. Copenhagen versus Dortmund will provide goals. PSV Napoli will produce goals as well. Ronald Union St. Gilloise will entertain Inter Milan, and that should be a win for Inter. Villarreal, Manchester City. Another game for the neutral to watch. In fact, I think that might be the game of the Tuesday games, actually. I think that might be the game to watch on Tuesday. Villarreal are a very good team. They have lots of good players. They are a good team to play with on FC26. They have players that I'm attracted to. Players like Pepe, Mikitadze, Ayoze Perez is regaining his form. Danny Pareo, Pate. It's a good team. It's a very good team. Renato Vega, my boy from Chelsea. And of course, Manchester City. So I would say that's a good game to watch. What's happening on Wednesday in the Champions League? Athletic Bilbao versus Karabakh. Another game that is Aram. Galatasaray will host Bodo Glimt. An opportunity for Victor Osimhen to shine again on the world stage. And I think that he is going to. Atalanta will host Slavia Prague. Bayern Munich versus Club Brugge. Chelsea Ajax. On Wednesday in the Champions League, I'm saying Chelsea should win this easily. Chelsea at home to Ajax is, in my opinion, as straightforward as it comes. Ajax come into this game with no wins in their last 3, 1 win in their last 6 games. Their 1 win in their last 6 games was a 2-1 Eredivisie win against NAC Breda. 3 defeats in this period. They lost 2-0 at home to AZ Alkmaar in the league just over the weekend. They lost 4-0 to Marseille in the Champions League in their first Champions League game of the season. In their second Champions League game of the season, I beg your pardon. And their first Champions League game of the season, they lost 2-0 at home to Inter Milan. So it's not been great for them so far. All 3 defeats they failed to score and they've conceded heavily. So I think that Chelsea will continue that trend. And I also like to see Maresca rotate a little bit. Start Maguire. Let Guyu start this game. João Pedro clearly needs a rest. He's not a center forward anyway. He's a number 10. Start Guyu in this game. Don't go all out and heavily rotate the squad. No. Gusto is suspended for the Premier League. So start him in this game. Let Reece James have a rest. Start Gusto as the right back. Start Jorel Alto as the left back. Give Andre Santos a run out. Start Estevao. Start Guyu. Give Gittins another chance as a starter. Start Buonanotte, a solid team, but still rotated, because I think this will be an easy win for Chelsea. Eintracht Frankfurt versus Liverpool. Frankfurt are a very high scoring team, but if Liverpool cannot now beat Frankfurt, that's where I know that there's a problem, and maybe we need to start talking about sacking Arne Slot. But I think Frankfurt are a good team. Can Uzun is having a great season. They have lots of good young talent. Can Uzun, Baoya. So like this team is, they will find a way to score you. That's what they do. And I think that Liverpool will surely concede. If you are looking for betting tips, Liverpool will concede. But I still think that they should win against Eintracht Frankfurt. Monaco Tottenham also looks like it will be good. We'll get a chance to see Paul Pogba and Ansu Fati against Tottenham Hotspur. Real Madrid Juventus on paper is the biggest game to look forward to in the Champions League match round. But I don't think so. I think Real Madrid are going to win. But both of those teams will be able to find the back of the net. Sporting CP versus Marseille has the same exact vibe. So that's what they do on the Champions League front. I don't have time, so I can't go through the Europa League fixtures this week. But if your team plays in Europa League, sorry, enjoy the game. Right now, what else do I have to get to on the show? If there are no more topics, it's time to see what Eagles Tracker is up to in terms of tracking Eagles, Falcons all over Europe. Godfrey Chinedu put in a man of the match performance, netting a hat-trick in Astana's entertaining home league win over Aktobe. Astana won 5-3 against Aktobe, and Godfrey Chinedu scored a hat-trick, so congratulations to him. Paul Onacho scored for the 4th consecutive game in a row as Trabzonspor end away Turkish Super League victory over Keiko Rizespor. 2-1 it ended. Paul Onuachu scored his 7th goal of the season. He's been in phenomenal form so far. But a few Durosimi scored for the 3rd game in a row to help Victoria Pleasant clinch a narrow Czech League victory over Nelson Okeke and Bohemians Prague. Nelson Okeke also played 82 minutes for Bohemians Prague, but Durosimi's only goal was the decider in that game, 1-0. Taiwo Awoniyi returned to action for Nottingham Forest. He made his presence felt in the first half for Nottingham Forest as he defeated Chelsea. He was taken off at halftime. That was Ange Postecoglou's last starting 11 as a Nottingham Forest coach, and he featured Taiwo Awoniyi, his first start of the season. So congratulations to him. Hopefully Sean Dyche will also take a liking to him as well. That's how your Nigerians performed this week. Ladies and gentlemen, another successful episode of the T&T Talk Sports show. My name is Tunde Young. Thank you again to everyone that has liked, shared, commented, interacted with our content in any way, shape, or form. The trip to Uyo was made worth it by you guys. We finally crossed the 100 views mark, and it was the press conferences that did it. So you guys seem to enjoy the press conferences, exclusive content from Uyo. You get a Ross press conference, Trustekong and Eric Shell's press conference as well. And even a lot of my own content as well that I created in Uyo and shared on the T&T Talk Sports page has been getting lots of love. So thank you very much on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube Shorts, on YouTube proper. I appreciate it. I do not take it for granted. Thank you for supporting the brand. Right now, I think we are up to 47 subscribers. I really appreciate every single one of you. Every single one of you that takes time out of your day, uses your resources to watch and listen to me on YouTube and Spotify. I do not take it for granted. More content will be gracing the page, of course, so please tell somebody to tell somebody about the show. If you enjoy my ramblings, thank you very much. Do let me know about it in the comments. That's what I ask. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, episode 9 of the T&T Talk Sports, it's a wrap. Peace.